because we have some questions here that I want to address. So, hey everybody, I am with you live, anxiously awaiting this hurricane that is about to land somewhere in Florida. Where it's going to land, I don't know, but anyway, I figure I might as well take my mind off of it, jump on here, talk to you all live. This week we had a lot of questions about hormones. So let me tell you what are some of the questions that we have here. So, how does functional medicine address hormone imbalances? What natural remedies do I recommend? Very good question. Another question is, how do you approach hormone imbalances, and what are signs to look for that I may have a hormone imbalance? Another very good question. So, let's talk about hormones in general. What are they? How what are some examples of hormones and things of that nature? Basically, hormones are they're the messengers. It's how your body communicates with itself, right? There's the endocrine system. The endocrine system are basically they're made up of glands that don't really have any direct ducts, right? They just send hormones or messengers out into the bloodstream, and it affects other organs. It's really amazing on how this works. What are some of those endocrine glands? What? Well, your thyroid, right? Your sex glands, whether it's ovaries, whether it's your testes, or what have you. Your adrenal gland is another example. Your pancreas. So these are various glands that produce hormones, and then the hormones communicate with other parts of the body, right? So, what we want to do is now, first of all, let's back up. So, when you say hormones, a lot of people automatically go to the sex hormones, right? So, if you're a man, what do you when I say hormones, what do you think about, right? Testosterone. If you're a woman and I say hormones, what do you think about? You think about estrogen or progesterone or what have you. Well, these are definitely types of hormones, but they're a small percentage of all the hormones. I mean, there's over like 50 something hormones in the body, right? So we need to talk about this collectively because they don't live in this vacuum. They're affected. All the hormones affect each other, all right? So that's the very first thing that I really want you to understand. So I'm going to be, to most people are more interested in the sex hormones because that's what you hear most of, and that's what you think that a lot of your symptoms are coming from, especially when you get older. Women go through menopause, right? And then the sex hormones drop. Men go through something called andropause, where their sex hormones drop. And you feel like it's a part of the aging process, and it's the reason why your libido drops, you're not as motivated as you were, you're gaining weight, you're achy, and all of this, and you feel like that's what's going on. Now, that clearly could be a part of it, but it is far from everything that is going on. All right? So, some of the things that the hormone imbalance affects is a lot of what I just said, right? So, unexplained weight gain. You're eating the same, you're exercising the same, but yet you're gaining weight. Why is that? Definitely hormonal shifts, okay? But it's not just the sex hormones. There's hormonal shifts with your adrenals. There's hormonal shifts with the thyroid, and the thyroid and the adrenals, they produce a multitude of hormones, okay? So there's also imbalances that are happening there. Insulin, very powerful hormone that tells your body to store fat. And so if you have insulin challenges, whether it's insulin resistance or you're not producing enough insulin or what have you, that's going to affect your metabolism and weight gain, okay? Fatigue. A lot of people, as you get older, you start feeling like you're losing your energy, and it's very challenging. And sometimes you can't even sleep properly. Well, this could be an adrenal issue. This could be a cortisol issue, okay? And so this could also indicate an issue with your thyroid function, your sex hormones, or cortisol, like I mentioned. Mood changes. You're getting irritable. Any of you experiencing that? You get stressed over things that you used to, it didn't really stress you that much. You're starting to become a little bit more anxious or depressed. And, like, man, life is good. What am I depressed about? And then you start beating yourself up because you're like, I don't have anything to be depressed about. So why am I feeling depressed? Definitely hormone imbalances. They can contribute to this. No question about it. Now, if you're a woman and you start having irregular menstrual cycles, definitely that is your hormones are starting to shift, right? If you're 40 or above, get ready because that is what's going to happen. All right. You could have more PMS type of symptoms or postmenopausal symptoms. These are changes as well. Your libido drops, your sex drive, right? That is something that definitely affects are effects of your hormones. When your hormones aren't balanced, especially if you're not really just feeling well, if you're tired, you're irritable. First of all, if you're irritable and tired and you don't feel well, you're not going to, feel very sexual. That's for sure. If you're not happy with the way that your body feels or looks, you're not going to feel very, very sexual. And so those are psychological effects that happen when we have hormonal effects, and then the direct hormone effects on the libido as well. Okay. Digestive issues, skin and hair changes. These are all things, right? And then the stuff that you normally hear about, the hot flashes, the night sweats. So all of these things are things that can happen with hormonal imbalances. Now, a lot of times you see people that they go to these hormone clinics and they're either getting pellets or injections or creams and all this. Now, sometimes that can be life changing, okay? It really could be a game changer. But here's the challenge that I have with that. Now, I'm not saying that, if you're on hormone replacement, get off of it and all this kind of stuff. No. What I am saying is that we have to get to the root cause of what's causing these imbalances in the first place. Because what happens is, yes, your hormones are going to shift. That is a part of the aging process. But it's not a part of the, what's not a part of the aging process is for you to feel like crap, okay, while you're going through this. No. There are what's called physiological levels that's age appropriate, okay? We don't need to, make you feel like you're 20 again and all this other stuff that the, companies claim and everything like that, right? No, we just want you to be optimal for where you should be, no matter what age you are. That is what we want, right? Because you are not supposed to feel like you don't want to ever have sex ever again in your lifetime. No, right? You don't want to feel like, well, now that I'm a certain age, I'm just going to be flabby and fat and out of weight and 50 pounds, heavier and all that. No. Just because you're older doesn't mean that you have to have aches and pains and arthritis and all this. No. That is not what growing old is about. If you look at society 20, 30 years ago, a person in their 60s did not feel like they were in their 80s. Okay, that was not happening. So what has shifted? Well, a lot of the lifestyle factors that we have now, that it definitely has played a role, but also the way that the food is prepared and the way things have really shifted into processed foods, grains and cereals and refined sugars. All of that has greatly impacted how we feel. And so how do we combat that? Well, number one, you have to have the knowledge that that's what's going on. Okay. That's first and foremost. You want to, so step one, okay, is identify your symptoms and what you're feeling and recognize that that is not normal just for the aging process. So define what it is that you want to feel, right? How do you want to feel? Why is it that this is important to you? That's step one, because without that, it doesn't matter what I tell you anyway. You're not going to do anything about it, right? So establish your what and your why. What is it that you want to accomplish with your body, how you're feeling? Why? Why is it important? So that's step one. Step number 2 is take inventory. Know where you stand as far as your labs. Get comprehensive testing. Test, do not guess. Don't just say, "Oh, my hormones are out of whack," because a lot of people do that, right? They come in, they come in to see me, and they say, "Oh, my hormones are out of whack." I say, "Okay, so what's your estrogen level?" "Oh, well, no one's ever checked it." I'm like, "Well, how do you know that it's out of whack?" "I just know it, da 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 da. My girlfriend had hers checked, and da da da." No, we don't want to guess. Get get them checked. Now, you don't just want to go to your regular doctor and say, "Hey, can you check my hormones?" First of all, they don't even know what that means. Okay, so you want to be very specific. So let me tell you what you really want to get. This is very important. So you want to check all of the sex hormones, yes, right? Estrogen. Now there's 3 types of estrogen: E1, E2, E3. All right, I'm not going to get into full detail on that, but you at least want to know what your E2 and E3 is. You want to check your testosterone, even if you're a woman. Very important, but not just regular testosterone, just a total testosterone. You want the free or the bioavailable testosterone as well. You also want a sex hormone binding globulin. This is important because it will give you a sense of how much of your hormone is bound to a protein. Okay. Now, if you don't have that, it's not the end of the world, but that's something that I would ask for. Progesterone as well. Okay. You want to do a full thyroid panel. All the thyroid hormones, not just the TSH, not just the T4, but you also want to ask for the free T3. We want to make sure that we're checking your antibodies to make sure that you're not having an attack on your thyroid, autoimmune conditions such as Graves and Hashimoto's and things of that nature. So checking the antibodies. So a full thyroid panel, including a free T3. Free T3 is the active form of thyroid. All right, we want to make sure that we're checking that as well. Insulin levels, very important. Not just the glucose, right? We do want a glucose. We want a hemoglobin A1C. But we also want to check insulin levels to see how high are those levels. Very important hormone to check. Now, if you're curious to see if you're in or out of menopause or whatever, yes, we can check the FH, right, and the FSH. The FSH and the LH. These are very important as well. So there's a lot of different hormones that we just want a comprehensive panel. Now, all of this is not as helpful if we do not have all the other comprehensive labs. We want a vitamin D level. We want to check inflammatory levels. We want to do an autoimmune screen. All of these things in one draw is going to be very, very helpful. Okay? The best person to go to for this is a functional health doctor, a functional medicine doctor. If you don't have one or you're looking for one, just reach out. We can help you with that. Okay? All right. So once we have that, now we want to analyze it. We do not want to use just the regular lab ranges because they're too broad. We want to know what is optimal. So for instance, testosterone in a man, normal range is between 200 and 800. That's way too wide, right? Because if you're a man and you're having a low sex drive, you have the spare tire around your midsection, you're not really enjoying life like that you should be. Things that used to excite you don't excite you. You used to love to play golf, but now you don't, or what have you. Things aren't the best in the bedroom, right? Things aren't functioning as strong as they should be functioning. If this is you and you go to your doctor and say, "Hey, can you check your testosterone?" Well, say they check it and the level is 250. Well, are you happy with that? No, you're not happy with that. Why? You say, "Well, it's normal, right? The doctor said it's normal." Okay, yes, it's normal within the range of what normal is, between 200, right, and 800, but the problem is it's not optimal. We need to get that up close to 650, 700 even. And we don't need to necessarily inject you and put you on hormones and stuff like that to be able to accomplish it. A lot of times we can accomplish that naturally. There's certain lifestyle factors that accomplish it. certain exercise routines, right? Supplementation. We can accomplish that. Now, if we don't get there, then yes, we do have the option of doing testosterone replacement. Absolutely, we have that option. But I don't want to start there. That's the thing. We want to see what your own body can be capable of. Now, once we establish that, and now we know the gap of where we are, we know what are some of the things that may be causing it. It could be adrenal issues, your DHEA. Oh, DHEA, that's another thing that you definitely want to check. DHEA is made by the adrenal gland, right? Adrenal gland makes DHEA. The body uses DHEA to make the sex hormones like testosterone. So if you don't have enough DHEA, you don't have the building blocks to make the testosterone. So this is also very important. So once we have a great picture of where you're at and the gaps that we need to fill, what are the root causes, then at that point we can put a plan together. Now, there could be some supplementation that may be helpful: ashwagandha, maca root, chastleberry, magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, all of these things, not chastleberry, chasteberry. These are all things that can definitely positively affect your hormones, okay? Now, here's the thing. We don't want to just go throwing supplementation at it and hoping that it's going to work, right? We don't want to just throw things up against the wall hoping that it sticks. Again, we want to get to the root cause of why these things are low in the first place, and then have a strategic approach. Again, you want a mentor, you want someone that knows functional medicine to really help you through this, okay? But there are some things that you can do. Obviously, getting rid of processed foods. Insulin resistance is probably the number one reason why a lot of these hormonal shifts happen. So we definitely want to combat insulin resistance. There's definitely a way to do that. I'll do a separate video about that. And we also want to have a certain type of exercise routine. Not just walking and running on the treadmill and all this. No, we definitely want to do resistance training. Resistance training is key because we want to add muscle. Muscle helps balance the hormones, okay? So there's definitely some things that you can do and you can implement that really starts helping balancing out these hormones. But you want to have a holistic approach because, again, there's so many factors that affects it, okay? So I just, dumped a lot of information on you. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, just type them in, the comments, and I'll try to address some of those things on the next live. All right? Again, let me know what you think. Are these helpful? Are they not helpful? Is there anything else that you want me to do these lives on? Just let me know. I'll be happy to do it. All right? Take care.